Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan. The topic of this 10-minute moan is to discuss and something that I wasn't aware of before, which is a thing called cuckooing houses in Scotland, and it's quite horrific, to be honest with you. Now, the story has been sent to me by a pal of mine, Dave, who's a campaigner for sexually abused children, and a very good one at that. And he sent me this story. He'd been telling me about this stuff for a while, and I didn't really understand it, to be fair. So he sent me this story today from BBC Scotland's website, which has a headline, Cuckooing criminals took woman's house and turned it into drug den. I'm going to read the story and then give you some insights into it once I've done so. A woman has told how she was forced at knife point to smoke crack by criminals who turned her home in Dundee into a drug den. She was a victim of cuckooing, the term used when someone's house is taken over for a criminal activity, including dealing, storing, and using drugs. The woman told BBC Scotland News she was initially befriended by a couple who then took her phone and bank cards and stole money from her. Dundee charity Positive Steps said the issue was rife in the city after 52 referrals for cuckooing cases in the last year. That's one a week. The woman, who we are calling Laura, said she was kept a prisoner in her home for weeks and was tied up and threatened by the couple. She said the lady was sitting with a knife at my throat and said if I didn't hand over my bank card, I was getting my throat slashed. Or if I didn't take the pipe, I would get a punch or whatever. I was too frightened to tell police. I didn't know what to do. Laura said she was in constant fear of her life. She said, I really thought they were going to kill me because they were forcing me crack cocaine. I was hallucinating and I couldn't say no because I was bound and force-fed it. Laura said that things became worse and worse as the weeks went by. I was too frightened to try and leave the house. If my door was locked, they would burst the door wide open. I couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. I just didn't know what to do. Laura said another neighbour who was cuckooed by the same people said, we had to flee this house. It was the same thing, but he actually got a massive hiding. And this was just so he could use his house and his money to buy crack cocaine. Laura was rescued after one of the couple answered the phone which they had stolen from her. A family member told them to put Laura on the phone immediately and alerted the police. Laura said, if they hadn't done that, I don't think I'd be alive today. Police referred Laura's case to Positive Steps, a charity for vulnerable adults, which helped her find new accommodation and regain her confidence. Positive Steps was recently awarded $344,000 to expand its cuckooing servicing. It previously operated with only one dedicated staff member, Gillian Anderson. She said, it's happening right across Dundee. People are even leaving their houses. We had a case where somebody jumped out the window just to escape what was going on. That sounds like something we heard of previously with a drug dealer. I wonder if it's the same one she's talking about. You know, Hums's brother-in-law got arrested for the drugs and then the person jumped out the window and died. Hope to God this isn't the same thing. I'm saying that if it's not the same thing, it means there's more than one person in Dundee flying out of windows. I don't know which is the best option, to be fair. Miss Anderson said the majority of people targeted were vulnerable women, but men and professional people were also victims. They're very clever at what they do. They have a certain person who has bought a drink in a bar and it came from there, or they've wormed their way through a friend. They've got their foot in the door and it goes from there. Miss Anderson said victims were subjected to various ordeals. Some people, like Laura, were bound and gagged. There's people that have lost everything in their house. The furniture, the white goods, their bank accounts are emptied. They've been sexually and physically assaulted. Some people never get back and leave all their possessions. Some people have moved from Dundee just to escape it all. She said Positive Steps would help victims find a new home. She said, we work in partnership with the police. The priority is usually housing, so we'll look at temporary accommodation. We also get them panic alarms and ring doorbells. A few days before meeting Laura, I accompanied police enforcing a warrant to search a property suspected of being involved in drug activity. Officers in riot gear flooded the house looking for controlled drugs, the evidence of any potential cuckooing, on this occasion neither. were found. Sergeant Elise Wilson, who works closely with organisations like Positive Steps, said it was just one way cuckooing can be uncovered. She said cuckooing can be discovered through the enforcement the police undertake. However, often members of the public will often feed information to the control room that filters to the officers to follow up. Signs might include neighbours who have become more withdrawn. There could be additional people coming and going from the address at different times of day and night. Also, new faces or accents from other towns. It's key, this phrase. There could be drug paraphernalia and common close, all signs we ask people to keep an eye open for. Back at Positive Steps, Laura said anyone in her situation should get help before it's too late. She said, I still think about it. I mean, it's still there in my head, but I've just got to get on with my day-to-day life. They made out they were my friends, but they weren't. They were evil, very evil people. Now, as I say, this thing was brought to my attention by Dave Sharp, who's a survivor of child abuse and a campaigner for child abuse, particularly in Scotland. And he's been telling me this is a thing that's used for many crimes, which can include, but not unique to, child abuse. And his concern is, and that's why I directed your attention to one comment that said, you pay attention to the accents of people because they might be from different towns. He believes there's a network right up and down the whole of Scotland, the whole of UK, including Scotland, with gangs who are involved in not only drugs, but child trafficking, child abuse, child pornography, and all sorts of associated crimes. And this is the first time I've seen this mentioned in the mainstream. And Dave's concerns are it's rife throughout Scotland, with tens of thousands of children being involved in similar situations to these cocoon instances. But the fact that the way of getting drugs into the streets is frightening. And that again is a concern of Dave's, because a lot of people who have been abused as children end up with addiction problems, and it's something that's obviously quite close to his heart. So now that you're aware of it, now I'm aware of it, it's something that I'll keep an eye on and just highlight it wherever this happens. And the more information I get, I'll be happy to share that on the platform with thousands of other people. But it is worrying, and it is worrying that a town the size of Dundee is by far not Scotland's largest city, but there's 52 referrals in 1 year. Now that's 52 people that went to this one charity called Positive Steps. Not everybody will be referred because they might be still stuck in the trap. So what is the true figure? And just Dundee alone, if one a week is reaching Positive Steps, how many per week are not reaching anybody and are still living under this horrific set of circumstances? So, sorry I have to share this with you folks, and normally I'll ask folk to give it a thumbs up if they like a video. I don't think anybody will like this video, but if you feel other people need to be aware of this situation, please do give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos, please consider subscribing if you've not already done so, and hitting the notification bell. But unless you are one of these people involved in the criminality of cocoon and destroying people's lives, everyone else apart from them, have a great day. Cheerio, bye now.